here? Not yet.
We are live.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it to come on my side. There we go on YouTube.
We'll be starting up in a second. Hang on there.
Todd and Rob in the afternoon.
With Todd and Rob. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Rob, how you doing? Happy New Year. How are you?
I'm doing okay, Todd. I did a double header tonight. So I did my podcast tips show just like an hour before this show.
Well, that's good because I know that essentially you were just getting back last night, and we were unable to,
Do our show
really
on
do,
normal night, right?
do
Yeah.
our show the normal time. So here we are on a Thursday. I wanted to get this out because next week I'm traveling. I'm headed back to the United States.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, so I'm excited about being back in the U.S. and on a normal work hour, I guess. Hey, before we get into the topic at hand today, there was it's been making the rounds. I think it
Hmm.
even made Pod News. There's this thing going on about the Honey plugin, and for those of you that don't know what the Honey plugin is, it's a product from PayPal, and it's designed to help people find deals, find promo codes
Hmm.
when they're essentially shopping. And it's been very nefarious for many, many years. And my codes for GoDaddy ended up on that platform without me submitting it multiple times. And I've had to go over there and ask for those codes to be removed multiple times because they weren't ever linked to my affiliate link. The code, it was a code in gesture, um, but when you clicked on it, I didn't get any benefit from it.
So
So
where does that benefit go, Todd? Does it go
it
to
goes to
somebody
Honey.
else's affiliate account? Or
Yeah, it goes to Honey. But
oh,
I've known about. But my point was take my promo codes off. Don't
well,
have my promo codes on there because I had very exclusive promo deals and I
right,
still do for a lot of services.
right.
And so I fought long and hard to get my promo codes. People would always, oh, I wish I could. Oh, my promo codes are on Honey. Well, guess what? It means nothing. They're just using your promo code, but and they hide the affiliate link when they click through because I tested that it was not my affiliate link. Um, so for
Wow.
many, many, many years, I have fought to keep my promo codes off the Honey platform. They make it look like they found the best deal with using one of my codes, but it was never my code. So
Mhm.
it's
Is
come
there
to
a
light.
scam going on here, Todd? It sounds like a scam to me.
Well, what's happened now is YouTubers have figured out through Audible and all these other affiliate and marketing deals they've done that any person running the Honey browser plugin,
Hmm.
if you're on a YouTuber's page, a Todd's affiliate page on Geek News Central for GoDaddy, anywhere you're at, and you click the link, and this is the key because there's the two parts to this. You click the link
All right.
and you basically have the Honey app installed. It has a function where it basically, in essence, is replacing that action. It deletes the cookie. It intercepts the affiliate link. It
Mhm.
substitute its own. It sets its own cookie, and you get screwed. You do not, as a creator, you do not get the credit for that sale.
So
So,
why would a user install this? Does does it give
well,
you access to
a
discounts
user, yeah, they're getting discounts. And they probably didn't know. They
that it
probably
was
have
doing
installed
this?
this.
Right.
it was doing this. And now it's like all of a sudden these YouTubers have woke up that honey is this thing that is your enemy. And I've known for years that this thing. Now I knew because I was being very protective of my promo codes. So, but there's a second part to this that no one's even talking about. And maybe it'll become as a realization. A lot of affiliate platforms. Okay, so as an example, Commission Junction.
Hmm.
GoDaddy uses, when I first started doing deals with GoDaddy, everything was run through the company's system. So when someone came over there and put a Geek News Central code um, into GoDaddy, or I had a link that went to GoDaddy, it all got credited. It was all good. So when GoDaddy basically, I think what happened was is they were trying to look for a central management system. Maybe they didn't want to build out their continued building out their own affiliate system. So they started using CJ. And in CJ, I have exclusive deals in CJ that are not available to someone that becomes a normal GoDaddy affiliate.
Hmm.
Those deals are only available to me, and you can't find them listed anywhere. It's basically they're set up for Todd and Geek News Central. So my first month, and this is years and years and years ago, of using CJ, all of a sudden my reports came in, and I'm like, I'm 80% down. And I'm like, something's wrong. We'd been consistently hitting numbers month after month after month. And when my numbers would go down 80%, and all of a sudden my revenue is directly impacted, I went back to GoDaddy. I said, something's missing. Something is missing in this. And what it turned out was I had trained my audience to take the promo code and paste it at checkout. I didn't teach them to click the link. I teach them to use the promo code.
Yeah.
So because they were going to GoDaddy Direct and using the promo code in the
Right.
checkout, CJ never saw that volume, never saw that traffic.
Right.
They only saw the traffic when the link was clicked on.
Right. Because that funnels through
So,
their
yeah.
tools. Right.
And to their credit, they said, oh, yeah, here's your codes being used. Here's the rest of 80% of your traffic that is missing. We will do a recalculation, and basically they back the numbers back into CJ every month.
Hmm.
The CJ number is this big. The promo code copy and paste method is this big, and I get full credit for the traffic I send over. Now, how many podcasters are using Commission Junction saying use my promo code and not telling them to click the link? And if they don't know this, and the advertiser is not giving them credit for those manually pasted in promo codes at checkout, they're still losing money. So it's
Yeah, because
not a fault.
even through the Commission Junction site, they have a tool that allows you to enter that promo code in there. Right.
No,
They
they
don't?
don't.
They don't?
No, they produce links.
Yeah. Well, I know that they did that. I thought for sure that
Yeah.
they supported being able to put in a
No. The
code.
data doesn't get fed back when you manually enter a promo code at
So that
checkout.
always
At
has
least
to be done at the merchant site, is what you're saying.
at the merchant site. So
Right.
the merchant has to say, okay, this came in direct because I told you to go to GoDaddy. I told you to
Hmm.
use the promo code. They
Hmm.
never clicked the CJ link in my website. So GoDaddy was good, and they squared it away. And it makes sense that CJ would not see that traffic. It's not CJ's fault,
Hmm.
because where it may be a fault is there should be some interoperability where that signal was sent back to CJ to say, hey, this code was used manually. But if someone's running a promotion like this, okay, so unlike my show, they've told listeners and viewers, click the link, click the link, click the link in the show notes, click the link in the show notes to get the discount, click the link. You're safe if you click the link, so long as there's no Honey plugin installed on a browser by your listener. So therein lies, and so they basically have done a class action lawsuit against PayPal for what it is nefarious activity. For me,
So PayPal
I
popped up in this conversation. What does
well,
PayPal own
owns,
it?
yes, PayPal owns Honey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So from my standpoint was I had known for years that I did not want any of my promo codes on Honey because I knew they were usurping. But what I didn't know, what was news to me, was that they were bypassing my clicked link if they had something in the browser. I knew that my promo code was not giving me credit across. So what it really means then is all these companies that work with Honey and also have relationships with creators need to stop using Honey. They're screwing their, well, what it really does is it could potentially, let's say that you're doing a show that is heavy merch and people are buying a lot of merch online. They probably have this plugin installed and it can cause your performance to go down. By how much? I don't know. But
So,
again, you have,
yeah, are you
if,
claiming that there's fraud going on here?
well, that's what the class action lawsuit is saying.
And
That's
that
what it's
pay
contending.
and then PayPal is behind defrauding valid affiliates on their payments.
PayPal paid, I think, $4 billion for Honey. That was the acquisition cost of, I have to look at, let me run
Well,
the numbers
that's,
here.
I mean, the
So,
more I think about
so
this, the more it becomes um, a criminal activity is what's going on here. This isn't,
well,
well, it is,
again,
Todd. I mean, if people are clicking on affiliate links in their platform and they're
right.
getting credit for that somehow,
Yeah,
that means that they're stealing revenue away
that's right.
from the affiliate, and that is the
Absolutely.
definition of fraud.
It's exactly what's happening as described in the lawsuit.
Right.
And
Then
they're asking for injunctive relief immediately to have this type of activity stopped. But to me, it was kind of like, oh yeah, I know they're now good. It's for me, it was no surprise. This has been going on for at least 10 years. Before PayPal even owned it, that I knew if and again, my situation is different in that my promo codes were showing up on Honey,
mhm.
but yet when they clicked on them, I got shit. I get
Yeah.
zero.
Well, there's always been concern. I mean, I spent a couple of years managing a large affiliate program myself in the early days of the internet, and worked with Linkshare, CJ in their very early years, and built a very large affiliate program. Um, and one of the things that I've heard you say over many years here, Todd, is that even those platforms have not been always giving full credit
No.
um, to to the affiliate links, and there's always been this kind of this gap between what what they're showing in their platform as is the affiliate credits, right,
Yep.
versus what the sales transactions are that happen
Hmm.
with the merchant, right? There was almost like there was an algorithm in there that was, or kind of like a short sheeting of the bed to some degree, on the links passing through Linkshare and passing through CJ back in those days. And there were other affiliate platforms back then too, besides those two, but those were the biggest back then.
It's
Um,
it's
yeah,
it's not in CJ's best interest to short sheet someone clicking on an affiliate link because they don't get paid unless that goes through. So in other words, if someone clicks on my CJ link
yeah,
and goes through and does a GoDaddy purchase,
yeah.
well, CJ only gets paid if that transaction happened. So it would be against CJ's best interest.
Yeah.
And I'm not
Yeah.
not pointing a finger at all at CJ. It would be against their best interest
Right.
to do anything bad.
Right. Right.
But
Right.
but people have always wondered. I look at my outbound traffic on clicks, and I know what my outbound clicks are
Yeah.
because I track it every month. I've got the data in a spreadsheet,
Hmm.
and and then I go back, and obviously people abandon cart. People don't always make a decision.
Right.
If you get them to click, that's probably the chance of that converting is 10%.
Right.
If they actually click the link and make it to the shopping cart, make it all the way through and do an actual purchase,
Right.
it's probably 10%.
Right.
And whereas someone that has been on my site and taken my promo code and then got through the checkout process at GoDaddy, they're purposely looking, even people searching on the web, they're purposely looking for a deal.
Yeah.
So they'll copy the promo code
Yeah.
and paste it in at checkout. So it's up to the merchant to make sure they reconcile this activity,
Hmm.
that when a promo code's used manually, to make sure that that gets credited back to CJ, or have the mechanism in there that CJ gets the report, says, hey, that promo code was used. I can just tell you from what I know. Again, GoDaddy goes into their system and they say, okay, here's the numbers. They do a dollar amount add to my account in CJ,
Hmm.
and CJ still cuts me a check, and I don't lose
Right.
those sales. Now, at the same time, I have had one of my biggest GoDaddy months I've had in many, many years in December. It was bigger than November. So I've been doing real well recently with, and I'm employing some new strategies and stuff. But the long story is if you're running an affiliate deal and it's a direct relationship with a vendor, the vendors come to you and said, hey, Rob and Todd, we want you to run this promo code, whether it be Audible, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. And the platform, you need to make sure that you have this conversation with them. Okay, are you guys reconciling manually entered promo codes? Are you, what is the
Hmm.
process of making sure, how long does my cookie stay? So that's another piece
Well, that's
too, is
another
when
one that's the variable, right?
is the
Yeah.
variable. How long, when someone goes to the website from my affiliate link, does that hold, or does someone else clicking another affiliate link overwrite mine in your platform? These are the questions you have to
Hmm.
ask.
Hmm.
I know how long I have to convert a GoDaddy customer. They've told me, I'm not going to share it. They've told me how long, when someone clicks my link and it goes and they don't get through the shopping cart and they
It,
come back later, how long, as long as they don't clear the browser cache, how long
how long does that cookie last, Todd?
how long does that cookie last for me to still get credit for
Yeah.
someone coming back?
Right.
And maybe I'm just, because I'm a tech guy, I kind of understand this to a point. Can't say that I know it perfectly. But I know enough that when my revenue went down 80%, when we made the switch, that something was wrong. And maybe, to be honest with you, maybe that was a good thing to have known, because otherwise if I'd have been just starting out from scratch, I would have never went back to GoDaddy and said, hey, there's something missing here.
Well, that's a little bit of a hack in the system, right? If you set those cookies to be relatively short, then that customer can still click on that link. It's just you won't get credit for it.
Well, and what allegedly is happening with Honey is they were replacing the cookie, or replacing whatever that is setting that, setting that, and they were basically upserping the system purposely.
Yeah.
So again, if you're not running the Honey browser, you're not screwing your creators you're supporting. But if you're running the Honey browser, get rid of that thing, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
So it's a whole browser. It's not a plugin to a
It's not a
browser.
browser, it's a plugin for a browser.
It's a plugin to Chrome.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's one of those things. It's and Amazon's got one too to help you find deals, and it's just like having, it's those little icons on the top right
Yep. I know what you're
above
talking
the
about.
bar.
Right. Sure.
So don't use that thing if you are supporting a creator network.
Yeah, that's a pretty big scandal for a big company like PayPal to get linked up with something like this.
Well, why did they pay $4 billion for it?
Well,
Because
obviously it was making money, right?
making a lot of money,
That's the
a
only reason.
lot of money.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I wanted to
yeah,
mention what one thing too about the early days of the questioning of the affiliate platforms like CJ and Linkshare. I don't think Linkshare is around anymore, um, but those platforms, people would question their kind
sure.
of their metrics out of those platforms. And I agree with you, Todd, that they had a motivation to convert as many customers as they could. The
Yeah,
problem that I think for many years, and maybe you had some run-ins with this early on, because I do remember us talking about this, is that maybe those platforms were not as reliable in counting those pass-through links, and in reporting it to you. Maybe they were reporting it to the advertiser or the affiliate owner, but maybe they weren't reporting it, so they didn't have to pay out as much money.
to me, there's always been this question, and I bet you we can talk to any podcast advertising company that's in existence today.
Hmm.
Why why does a host read CPM campaign always, always, without question, always perform better than a straight affiliate deal? Why? Same ad, same process, same messaging. The only difference is one is tied to an affiliate performance, the other is tied to a CPM performance. Why? That it's still that happening today. So why is there a difference in performance? Same campaign, just different payment methods. I've always, every ad deal. Now, again, I'm an exception because I get a hybrid deal. I get a base with GoDaddy, then a performance
Yeah.
based upon performance.
Hmm.
But I still get a base CPM. Well, I don't get it's not even a CPM. It's a base rate.
Right. That could be applied
And
and create a CPM. Right.
yeah, they back it out.
Yeah.
They end up in the end, it's how many customers did we get? How much did we pay Todd?
Hmm.
They do a CPA. What was that ultimate acquisition cost?
It's almost like a
And it's new
guarantee is what it is. I
it
mean, to
is.
some
It's a
degree, right?
guarantee. But
Right.
at the same time, I've done deals after deals after deals for years where, and matter of fact, we are going to um I have a new well, I'll talk about this partnership in a minute. I have a history of seeing how performance goes on affiliate, just straight affiliate versus CPMs. And it's the CPMs always perform better. And I've always said, someone please tell me what the difference is here. And I truly believe it's about that disparity of lost sales somewhere from the click to the
Right.
purchase.
Or it's just not being triggered in the database. I'm sure that the referral happened, just not being counted properly
Right.
because maybe you have a coding error or something in the platform that
Yeah.
misses
But,
every couple of clicks, right?
but again and again and again across multiple vendors,
Right.
why is this the case?
I mean, it would be a way of driving up ROI, well, to
Well,
the
it drives down.
advertiser.
Well, the advertisers please because they said, "Oh, we got all these sales. We don't have
That's
to
right.
pay
But
this."
if you as the affiliate link provider don't get credit for it, they don't have to pay as much.
A lot of people run their own in-house affiliate systems, though.
Yes. Yeah. So there's always this potential of double checking that, right? So you have
Right.
basically a each time that link, so you can add like a layer to the
Yeah.
URL that will help
It,
you
it's
track it
it,
separately. Right.
Blueberry runs a very simple affiliate system,
Right.
and the cookie we basically 30 days that it and it maybe it's not a cookie, but basically if someone comes to Blueberry from a promo code from an affiliate, we hold that basically if they come back within 30 days, the person still gets credit for the sale. And
Mhm.
and we can see that and we paid out 5-figure bonus checks this year to our affiliates, and we
Mhm.
pay a matter of fact, we pay our affiliates now I think every month, and we see the performance. I go
Mhm.
right in the system. I can see how many times the promo code was used for XYZ. It's very, very simple for us to track. I've never had an affiliate complain. Um,
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we've had it so good that affiliate code plus you get longer. If you use a Blueberry affiliate code, you get 60 days free to begin with instead of 30.
Mhm.
So we make it even a better bonus, more value to the affiliates to use this affiliate. So well, you guys are giving 30 days free. Well, when they use your promo code, you tell them they get 60 days free. So it's a better deal. So we're not
Right.
um, overriding and under making the value of their affiliate code less.
Mhm.
So yeah,
So
and we've
what
seen people. Go ahead.
so what areas of an affiliate program with the technology that's implemented do you see, is there a potential of manipulation, I guess, or
Well, this is what
yeah.
Honey has done.
Well,
They've
yeah, yeah,
intercepted.
I'm talking about like a link, like a CJ. What could they do? Could they, in mid campaign, change the duration of the cookie? Could they do other things?
They could. Well, usually, no, not well. Yes, they could change anything at any time
Right.
on the.
Y-
Yeah, they could.
And part of what I'm saying is that that referral could still happen
Hmm.
even without an activating cookie, right? A person
Hmm.
has a link to that URL, maybe stored in their
Right,
bookmarks or something like that.
but
Or they
most times
have it. It's
people
still
don't
going to
use
work,
bookmarks.
right?
Yeah,
It's not going to stop working just because the cookie expired, is it?
yeah. As long as they use the link or the promo code.
Right.
Yeah.
If you even have
So
to have the promo code, right?
and if you, for us at least at Blueberry, 30, you come back, the customer comes back within 30 days, you still get credit.
Right.
Again, there's factors. If they've cleared their browser cache,
Right.
that's gone. There's nothing
That's
we
going
can
to
do
kill
there.
it right there.
It's
Right.
going to kill it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it's something that we periodically test. I think we've got it on a 90-day
Yeah.
rotation or something like that. We test the infrastructure and make sure it's holding. And it, so again, it's something that we go back and look at, but we've never had issues.
Yeah.
So yeah, this whole situation, and again, how many people have got the Honey app installed? Well, let me let me Google that. How many installs of the Honey plugin? Honey browser. I think you can actually find out on probably the plugin page. It shows how many installs are. So yeah, so 17 million people have that thing installed.
Yeah. Okay.
No, 20 million monthly visits to joinhoney.com. 20 million monthly visits. So that tells you how much people are using that site to save money. Because if people can find out if they don't have a promo code already, that's where they go to get one and save
Yeah.
some cash.
Mhm.
But if you've got this installed in your browser and you're clicking on a YouTube affiliate link for Audible or whoever, you may not have given a penny to that creator.
Yeah.
So, it's just, I saw a discussion about it this past 2 or 3 days. I was just like, oh, you guys don't understand. You guys are just like figuring this out now. you know. Again, I didn't know that they were doing this for it, again, I was worried about my promo codes even just being on Honey.
Mhm.
And again, I have to go over there once in a while and peruse uh, to make sure that they're not running any of my promo codes because I know that I'm getting ripped off.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Wow.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. So we should probably move on and talk about the topic that we've teased for tonight. I know all of you have been patient if you came here to hear that topic, but I don't know if you wanted to start off, Todd. But there was an article that Nick Qua, our famous, our our fellow that I think we came close to having him on the show at one point.
Yeah, good old Nick.
He wrote an article in Vulture magazine talking about will video kill the audio star in 2025? And it's a provocative headline. There's no question
Of
about
course.
it. I mean, I think at the end of the whole story here, I think the answer is maybe what most people listening to this maybe are hoping for. but but it's also an interesting story because I think as we've seen happen, the rise of video and the perception of it has uh, has shifted the conversation in the podcasting space a lot. I mean, just this article is an example of it, and I think addressing the elephant in the room is really the only pathway forward because a lot of like you've said, Todd, people maybe have a perception that video is now the priority and it's really not that simple. So what they thought is that that this is a major shift that's being driven by these big platforms, YouTube, Spotify, and a lot of the big major content networks out there have gone all in on the video side. And but Nick's contention is that that's really been driven by mostly by video posting to social media, just in a general sense, and that would include like X and Facebook and TikTok and stuff. I think we talked about this last week too, and that there's this perception that there's a delivery not a delivery, but a discovery benefit, right? That people are able to discover new podcasts in these video platforms, right? And that's what the research is continuing to show is that YouTube is now the number one place to discover podcasts that are perceived as a video, right? So that's kind of what's going on here, and that the audio only stuff is kind of getting left on the sidelines, and that there is this perception that the video side is getting this cool factor that audio it doesn't have anymore. And so I think that's kind of where this is coming from, right? Is that this conversation happened many years ago, Todd, as you remember in the early days of podcasting, where it was, will the podcast, what was it, the podcast star kill the radio star? Was the conversation back in the early
Yeah,
days of podcasting, right? I'm sure you remember that. It was like a
sure.
headline in I think one of the big national USA Today or something like that. I think Adam Curry was featured there. So it's
Sure.
funny how we're seeing this kind of similar kind of um, position being taken here.
Well,
Any comments about that so far as we move through this?
if we think about the discovery piece, this is not the first time anyone on this show has heard this. I've always said that
No.
podcasting is not have a discovery problem. You have a Google problem. Um, Notoriously,
Well, especially now, right?
about 90, well, I think it could get, yeah, maybe even now, and it's an opposite situation, but let's think pre AI.
Well, and
90% of
also
podcast,
when Google Podcasts had a platform, right, in search.
90% of podcasters do an absolute horrendous, horrible, I can't, let's use the most derogatory words we can, shitty write up and shitty titles for their podcast episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And it still exists today. If you
Mm-hmm.
go through and look at the episodes and the show notes of 90% of podcasters, what they have done is they've created this great, beautiful, sometimes content, and then they shoot themselves in the foot by having this horrible metadata. So we've
Yeah.
been a product of our we've been the outcome uh, crap out
Right.
means shitty discovery. So we've been our own worst enemy in this regard. Number
Hmm.
two, the search in these apps has been horrendous, just
Right.
freaking horrendous.
Yeah, it has been
It,
bad. Right.
it's been really bad. No one has done search well in apps. And the reason is they have to invest in a little infrastructure. They have to have some servers. They can't just pull the Apple list
Hmm.
and expect to have good search results in their apps. Most apps have done a shitty job in
Hmm.
discovery of just simple search. We're not talking about surfacing shows, having top shows. That so we've been our own worst enemy, at least on those two regards.
Right.
You
Yeah.
bring in video, the video piece, which I am a very, very honest. I focused on the web. I never focused on YouTube. I put a title in for years. I just put a title in and a smidgen, just a smidgen of description, kind of like most podcasters do. So why hasn't my content on YouTube surfaced and grown and channel? Because guess what? I didn't do the things necessary on YouTube to grow my channel. I didn't have beautiful album art. I didn't play the YouTube algorithm game, blah, 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 blah. So same things apply. So if you're a podcaster and you're part of that 90%
Hmm.
that's doing shitty on your web-based publishing and you put it on YouTube, you're still going to have shitty results because you have to do a certain thing over there to be discovered. Your proven point, your channel's growing. You take time in doing the metadata. You take time in, putting the stuff in that's going to make your content found. So again, I think
Well,
if you
and look more attractive. I mean, it's a game of
right,
it's kind of like playing a game of billboard, right? I
yeah,
mean, you
yeah,
have
yeah,
to have a good marketing billboard
yeah,
on YouTube, and to some degree, that's the case with podcasting too. You still have to have that
yeah.
compelling cover art, and you have to have increasingly, you really should have episode art.
Yeah,
Um,
and we've run episode art. At least I've run episode of art on Geek News Central for years. Not on this show. We
yeah,
started it when the AI stuff came because I was able to create some AI crap that half the time isn't 100% as good as it should be, but at least it's something different. But the end result is the reason some find their success is they went over there and they're following the rules. They're following the YouTube algorithm rules. And the problem is no one has ever really said in the podcasting space, here are the podcasting rules and what you need to do to have rich show notes. And, and we don't know what Google's doing today with any auto generated transcripts or if they're even generating transcripts still of shows. Um, and also, to move a little deeper into this article, a certain segment of shows are doing well over there. So I believe wholeheartedly that he termed it chit chat shows.
hmm
That would be you and me, a chit chat show,
yeah,
are doing well on YouTube from a video standpoint. And yeah,
I think they
you
are.
want me
I mean,
yeah, and
based on what I see.
they have
Yeah.
nice sets. They've spent some money, they
Well,
got
some
lights.
do, some don't, Todd. It's really
Yeah,
kind of a hit and miss on that.
the majority that are succeeding, you have a nice set. You have a nice background. You've invested in a little bit of motif. It's not completely boring. Look at me. I'm here in a condo unit. There's nothing behind me. So
Though, Todd, I would say I see some very successful shows on YouTube that have backgrounds just like yours. So it's
no,
it it's more about the content. It's more about how it's presented,
mm,
um, and what the topics are is what I'm increasingly seeing. How timely is the topic? How is it a zeitgeist for people's interests? Right. And
mhm,
then what the algorithm does over there is it matches those interest areas that they pick up from their users, right? And they drive attention of those users to that content that matches their previously consumed content, right? So it does this matching to the consumer with the content. And if the algorithm sees that this content from this creator that is in this kind of topic area has good engagement, has deep listening, deep watching, right? So they're listening to, 10, 20, 30 minutes of an hour show or something like that. They will be more likely to recommend it to more people that have that interest. So if you have a large pool of people that have an interest in a certain topic, right? Or a certain kind of niche issue. And it's very emotional too. People are finding huge success on covering like the UAPs and the UFOs and stuff like that. And they will do like 2-hour episodes just sitting around throwing up on the screen videos from New Jersey, and they'll be gathering 25,000 live viewers. And
Right.
it's and in some ways, it's the same pattern that I saw even in the early days with live audio. I saw that to some degree. It depends on the topic, right?
Hmm.
There was a show that I worked with on Spreaker that was using their live audio system, and they were talking about like Ghostbusters. I mean, not, ghost hunters, right? So they were talking about hunting ghosts on this live stream. It was like a 3-hour live stream. They were garnering 6 to 10,000 comments and 10,000 views. And I think that's kind of what's happening here with YouTube. It's not so much about podcasting. It's around more focused on topics that people have an interest in, right? And making them timely, I mean, if you look at what's going on too with politics and what's going on with a lot of the breaking news that's going on, right? With the the blowing up of the Cybertruck and stuff like that. That blows up huge on YouTube too, right? So
Yeah, well, and YouTube will feed you. It's just like being. Here's what they really have accomplished.
yeah,
They replaced news. They replaced mainstream
yeah, they
media.
have. Well, podcasting and YouTube have replaced news, no question.
Well, YouTube specifically because they're really, really good because they're
Well, and
sitting there saying,
X is
well,
also one too, right?
but again, I don't see well to an extent. I don't see media on X. I see a lot of chit chat on X around these themes, and every once in a while there might be a media clip intertwined. But I think that what YouTube has really mastered from this perspective is
Hmm.
if you got on an hour after the Cybertruck blew up or the New Orleans
Yeah, that's what
incident
people
or
are looking
whatever,
for.
and basically people aren't looking for it. YouTube has got someone in a center saying, okay, right now this Cybertruck and the New Orleans and these 100 topics are trending globally.
Yeah, that's
What they're
because
going to do.
people are signaling to the algorithm that they have an interest in that.
But I
So
also think that,
yeah,
that people at YouTube are sitting there prioritizing this stuff.
I don't think it's
There's
being done manually, Todd.
oh,
No.
I bet it is. I bet a large point percentage of
Mm,
it. The top stuff is being driven. Has to be.
why?
And, why if you're YouTube, you've got a ton of people that are probably assigned to each category. Say this is trending. Let's go ahead and make sure that I'm sure that they have people that are watching. Why wouldn't they?
Because
Why
it's
wouldn't
slow. It's slow. It's not going to be as
uh,
effective and as fast as
I,
a
I
algorithm
don't
would
I
be.
don't not if you have someone there 24/7 and you have people that are watching that. I'm sure some of it is a logarithm base, but I bet you a
Oh,
big
most of it
percentage
is,
of it.
Todd. I mean, just
Yeah.
look at Facebook. It's the same way. I mean,
YouTube
you
has
look at
never really said how they do that, but there's a lot of manual manipulation on what gets driven to the top.
mm,
Has to be
well,
because otherwise you wouldn't see the same channels again and again and again and again and again. You'd see a more variety of channels. There are definitely channels that are getting higher priority surfacing of discovery than the top 10% are just they're there all the time being promoted.
well, it
I
also,
very
I mean,
I very rarely see anything that's brand new in my YouTube home feed. Very rarely.
I see it all the time. So,
Yeah,
I
they feed me the same shit.
well, it's true because you have a history of being with it, or maybe you subscribe to their channel. So there's signals
Actually,
that the algorithm is picking up around your interest graph, right? And
but one thing's for sure is we don't do that at all in podcasting
I
and
know,
audio.
and I think we have a massive amount of data analytics envy going on in the medium right
I
now.
don't think that I think the challenge is I don't think people engage the audio in that way. I think in
Well, it's never
audio,
been viral, right? It's never had a viral.
there's no
Podcasting has
viral
never
moment.
really had a viral
No.
component to it,
Well,
right?
serial, but again, it was again a
Mm,
show.
yeah,
It was not a piece of
trending
content.
topic type of a show,
Right,
right?
right. There's never surfaced trending topics.
So trending topics tends to benefit from live.
It
Trending
doesn't necessarily
topics.
live. It's just content that's
No,
playing.
no, I'm just speaking more generally now. I'm saying that like what we're doing right now,
Yeah,
we could launch this show and go live to talk about the Cybertruck
yeah,
explosion, right? And garner a big audience because everybody wants to hear the latest news. But at the
yeah,
end of the day, it's the reputation of the channel. How much traffic does that channel on average generate? I mean, I see it in the back end metrics, is that it is tracking your history of what a prior video has had, and it will compare it to what this video has, and it will tell you the difference between those viewer numbers. It'll say your average video gets, 1,000 views at this point
yeah,
in its publishing time, compared to this video. This new video gets 10,000 views, right?
yeah.
So it creates deltas on that, and that's a signal to the algorithm to keep either promoting it or backing off. If it's not continuing to grow, then the algorithm will stop promoting it.
I've
So yeah.
been remiss here, and we've got comments coming in from YouTube. Beauty Bubble says 19 million, I believe that was in relation to honey.
Oh,
Uh,
honey. Okay.
Dave's Fit Life says, what I often find are the micro clips of podcasts. Those are very entertaining.
Yeah.
I watch many
The
micro
shorts.
contents of
Right.
Rogan, Earnhardt, a few others. That being said, I never watch either shows in their entirety. Beauty Bubble
Mhm.
says the basics are still relevant. Collaboration, acknowledgement of audience, and a thorough think tank may get behind just some thoughts. Dave, content is still king for me. Beauty Bubble podcasters could rule this. It's true, but you have to be timely. And most podcasters are not timely. I concur with that sentiment, Todd. Over holiday discussion, my family members mentioned as discussion, not movies or shows, but which YouTube channels they follow, even from the elderly. Um, so
Yeah.
again, I think just like in podcasting, I've got a bundle of audio shows that I listen to.
Mhm.
On YouTube, I have a bundle of content that I watch. As a matter of fact, during Christmas and New Year's, um, majority of those YouTube creators took off and were not creating content.
Mhm.
So the 10 or 15 shows I follow religiously took the holidays off. I'm thinking, what a miss. What a miss. They
Yeah.
would have gained more because and so what was YouTube serving to me during the holiday period was definitely more stuff I've never seen before.
Yeah, because
So
there
there
wasn't as much new stuff. Right.
but YouTubers have this thing that's basically, and this is the big difference between YouTube and podcast, is the YouTubers are always chasing a ball. It's like jumping into
Yeah,
a
that's fair.
big, be taken out on a boat on a lake, and you only know how to doggy paddle. You don't know how to swim. You just know how to doggy paddle to keep your head above the water. YouTubers, I feel, like you're put in the lake and thrown in, and they're doggy paddle, doggy paddle, doggy paddle, doggy paddle. They got to keep up, got to keep up, got to keep up, got to keep putting content, got to chase the algorithm, got to be relevant, got to be relevant, and it eats them alive.
Well, that's what YouTube wants. They want this feverish pitch around content creators. That's what they want.
Whereas podcasting, I get to consume it when I want to. It's going to be
Well, it still
there.
has that element, Todd. It still
It's
has that.
it's
Yeah.
for me, that's the beauty of podcasting. I'm behind on one of my shows, the Podcasting 2.0 show. So I'm going to be binge listening to this thing on my flight back on like the 4 episodes I'm behind on. I'm going to be binge listening all, in the airplane. I'll probably have to go
Yeah.
back and re-listen twice because I'll probably fall asleep a few times because I'm leaving it like, late at night to fly on
Mhm.
JAL to get back, and I'm stuck in Tokyo for a while. But anyway, it is it's a different thing. That content is there. And
Right.
is it timely? Some of it is, some of it's not. So
Mhm.
this is what we have to really. I have no desire for Rob for you to call me and say, "Hey Todd, the Cybertruck just blew up. We need to go live right now." And I'd be like, "Rob,
Well, that's not our genre anyway. So yeah. Right.
but
Yeah.
that's the main point is, Rob, I'm having a beer.
Well,
I
that's why a
don't want
lot
to
of these
go.
shows are not co-host shows. They're solo creators that are just doing like a live talk show. It's the Rob Greenlee show is kind of what a lot of these shows are, right? And people will just go live whenever there's
I,
a breaking news story,
I
right?
I would have so much. First of all, they don't have a life, number one. Number two,
Yeah,
number two, I'm not saying you don't have a life, Rob. You go live on a planned schedule, so
I
you're
do.
not
I
chasing.
do.
You're not
I'm
chasing.
living old school, Todd.
You're not chasing headlines. And
Right.
I can't imagine having to live like a news anchor. If you choose to do that, you're going to be wildly successful. No problem. You're if you're chasing headlines and you go live the minute something happens, great.
Yeah.
Um, but
But you also have to know what you're talking about too. You can't just bullshit
yeah,
people. You can- you have to spend at least 5 minutes doing a little research before you go live, right? You have
yeah.
to dig into it a little
Da-
bit.
David De Silva says, "Happy New Year, Beady Bubble. This is the place to be at, David, to begin a wonderful year." I agree. Man, I would take that opportunity. So again, I think it's really all, again, I think certain content does well, but no one's going to come on here to listen to a storytelling podcast. No one,
Yeah. I mean, I mean,
that's
I guess
genre
it depends on how it's produced, Todd, right?
Yeah, again,
I mean, a
I
lot of
think
that
there's,
format is a tough production, right? It's not
yeah.
easy.
And so I think there's, this article was such that I will give Nick a little. I gave him this much credit. It's pretty good. It was pretty
That's
good
a lot
written
to ask from you, Todd. Give him any
from for
credit.
especially for Nick. But I'll say it was okay. It was a pretty good written article.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
of it made sense, but
Well, in the end, he I don't know if you went all the way to the bottom, Todd, but he he does bring it around to more of your position on it. But it's just it's this shiny object scenario that's
yeah,
going on
yes,
right now
shiny
that we've
object
had.
syndrome. Yeah,
Right. I mean, we've had this stuff before, but it is a little bit more, you know, it's 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 a little bit more of the shiny thing, right?
yeah,
It's the glitz, and I see this with the difference between live. So like what we're doing here, um, I don't know that live in this format does very well on these video platforms. What I see with my own content that I make is when I pre-record it and I do a bunch of editing to it and I add a bunch of sizzle and transitions and stuff like that, they typically do a lot better. Um,
I'm sure.
but they also, it really depends on the topic. It really depends on the topic. If that topic is top of mind with other people,
Yeah.
it's more likely to do better. And I guess the algorithm has some way to pick that up because my numbers go way up when I have a topic of a video that I did that really kind of matches with what people are thinking right at that time.
Well, Beauty Bible says, try it. Tell us a story. Well, I'll tell you a little story.
Which part are you going to tell a story about?
Well, it's completely not related to what we've been talking about, but I'll tell a
Okay.
story.
Okay.
Actually, I'll tell you something I learned. So I'm still here in the Philippines, and the Philippines is a heavy Christian country,
Oh, it is.
mostly Catholic. Of course, if you get into Mindanao and some of those places, a heavy Muslim influence too. But
Hmm.
Christmas here is like they start celebrating Christmas like in September. I'm not kidding. The mall decorations go up, and you're hearing Christmas jingles from September to January 1st.
Wow.
It's absolute freaking insanity. I mean, they celebrate Christmas. So one would expect in a predominantly Catholic country that on Christmas everything would be closed. In America, on Christmas, predominantly everything is closed. Stuff may open in the afternoon. It's not as much as it used to be, but everything here was wide open. Malls were open, restaurants were open, everything was open. And I'm like, huh? I'm like, what is this? Then in America, New Year's, the bars are open. It's celebration time. It's time to party, right?
Right.
Everything's closed here on New Year's. I mean, locked up tighter than a drum. Not a bar, one open. And I'm like, what the heck is going on here? So it's anyway, there's your story. It's um, I'm still baffled by it, but New Year's is when family comes together, has dinners, and celebrates together. Christmas is where they all kind of just do their own thing and go out and have, eat out in town and blah 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 blah. I, I
Yeah, it's
I'm
just
I'm just it's the opposite. Now I know America is not as locked down at Christmas time as it used to be, but it's
Mm.
anyway. There's Beauty Bubble. There's your story.
has nothing to do with our topic, though.
That's right. Has nothing to do.
Well, there's probably live streams from like churches and stuff going on that night on
Well, I'm
Christmas Eve. But yeah,
yeah,
that's that's about what's
So
going on.
again,
Or the
I
Tabernacle
guess
Choir or something. Right.
if I was chasing the YouTube algorithm, I would be doing stories every day on what was happening today.
Hmm.
But again, some channels in YouTube are not designed that way at all.
Yeah.
The one I'm looking forward to most right now is a guy that's got a cabin out in the Canadian
Yeah.
wilderness, and this dude is a beast. He's I don't know how. I think about every episode he's going to die.
Yeah.
From something he's done, but
And it may not, I mean, for a lot of content categories or genres, doing it like that really works. I was just watching
yeah, sure,
like like a video, a long form video that was following a couple that was living out in the amongst like 5 feet of snow in a blow up cabin, right? You know, and it just goes on and on. And all you're doing is watching them, create fire in a fireplace
yeah,
and cook,
yeah.
right? So,
But
and
to
it's yeah. Go ahead.
Dave's point, I probably fall more into his category where I see clips of something, 8-minute
Right.
clips of it, and I'll watch that. And I've never watched a full episode of a show.
Well,
And
what's a full
and
episode, right?
those people are smart. They said, okay, the 2 hours we talked, here was the 8 minutes that was
Was
really
actually
important.
consumed.
Right.
That's why it's so important, Todd, and I've learned this here over the last year or so, is that the first 1 minute of any video that you do on YouTube is critical
Oh,
because if you don't get to the point,
yeah.
they're getting to the point somewhere else. So
They leave. They leave.
so your tendency when you start your podcast is to kind of
Yeah.
talk about personal stuff and all that stuff like that. That doesn't
Yeah.
work on YouTube.
That's right.
So you have to get, so when you put
To the
in
point.
your cover art or your
Yeah.
your thumbnail, what the topic is, the audience is expecting that in the first 30 seconds you're going to be already diving into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that may also explain a little bit of why maybe the video that you're doing with your podcast
Yeah.
doesn't match with YouTube.
Yeah. Because the
Um,
first 5 or 6 minutes is
is
nothing
not
but show
targeted
information.
to it's kind of like what we did at the beginning of this show
Yeah.
was, I had put out there in my metadata and in my cover art that or we were going to talk about a particular topic, but when we started we spent the first 10 minutes talking about something else, right? So that may have impacted how many people stuck around to actually
Mm.
watch the video. So,
Yeah. I don't even title my stuff before I go live.
well, that's I hate to say, but that's SEO 101, Todd,
Well,
on
again,
YouTube.
I know very few people watch live, so my goal is later on. It's when they're going to come catch it later.
Well, and then also in
That's
the
the mindset.
metadata, we have New Media Show and Geek News Central in the
Oh yeah.
name. So a person that's
Yeah.
watching this video doesn't know if it's Geek News Central or New Media Show
Right.
unless they see our logos.
Yeah.
So it just depends on your approach. I mean, I played around with all these different formats, whether pre-recorded, live, um, um, with guests, solo, you know,
Oh, hang on here. I just
right.
screwed myself.
It's but anyway, I mean,
Yeah.
there's lots of differences between these two platforms.
So, Jeffrey says, try going to channel you'd rarely see and hit the thumbs up a bunch of times on that channel. You will see that stuff on your feed. I never up thumb anything. I watch on a television, so I never thumbs up
Yeah,
content
you
ever
can't
on
actually do
YouTube.
that
You
in the
can, but I
TV
don't do
apps.
it. You can, but I don't do it.
Well, I don't.
You can thumbs up, but I never thumbs up content in
What what
on
TV are
YouTube.
you using
I have
to watch? What
I've got a regular Chrome.
Chrome?
You just up button the dingleberry and it's the
Oh,
up button is there.
the Chrome.
Well, it's whatever the YouTube app is on televisions, they're all the same. You can do a thumbs up on content. I just
Oh,
never do it. I
what?
can see comments, I can see
Oh,
everything.
okay, so you're playing this through a smart TV that has the
Yeah,
YouTube
yeah,
app on
yeah.
it.
I never watch
Okay.
on an app or my um just it's a logarithm, man. The thing about logarithm, they have to be developed by people. Yes, I agree.
Well,
So, uh,
the algorithm does.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I would say over the next couple of years, though, AI is going to be updating the algorithms because
Mm.
they are going to be the algorithms. So um,
Well,
AI is going to be driving all this, and
yeah,
I think they already are.
that said, I think we have to realize here that those that are going to go do video are going to go do video, and we just need to keep making sure that we're moving the bar. And again, moving the bar, it means that Apple and and maybe this is why Spotify's seeing success is they're surfacing stuff, whereas Apple is not surfacing content at all. I think they're trying.
Yeah, Todd, I
Um,
think this whole metrics thing is really going to push the envelope on this. I think there's so much that's being made available through these um, proprietary platforms now that the expectations are increasing
oh, I'm
on the
sure.
part of the sponsors and advertisers as well as the content creators. They see podcasting as like a black hole of information. There's nothing there. Um, I mean, I'm not saying there's nothing there,
Well,
but
again,
there's it's quite a bit less.
well, that it's because they want to remarket to you, and
Well, they want to
you can't.
know how far people are listening to your content. Is what they're
Oh, yeah, yeah,
really
yeah.
wanting.
Well,
Because if they have an ad in at 10 minutes into the program, they want to know how many people are actually still listening to your show 10 minutes into your
but
program.
they're not dummies. They're backing that out in performance. They're doing that on YouTube too.
Yeah, that's not enough anymore, Todd. That's the
No.
problem now. Is that the expectations have increased has nothing. I mean, it does have something to do with performance, but
Mm.
I'm not sure that's the only metric that the people are looking at. I think that duration of consumption is also being considered in ad placement now. So, so if you want to do a campaign now, you have to show your metrics on what the consumption is of each of your ad breaks,
Well, I've
and
never
they
been
will
asked.
prioritize running ads in a particular ad break because they know that's why they all want to run in pre-roll,
But again,
right?
Rob, you continue to talk to 10% of the podcasters out there that are getting advertising. The 90% are not.
What do you mean? I continue to talk to? No, I don't.
Well, again, you're saying that this is all ad based. That only covers
All of the
10% of
changes that no, I'm saying all the changes that are being pushed for are being
podcasts.
pushed by the monetization prioritization that's going on in the industry right now.
Well, for those that are monetizing, then they have to figure that out. The other 90% don't care.
Yeah, but I think as we have seen mainstream media move into podcasting, their expectations are moving with it,
Well, again, for the 10% that are getting advertising, they're going to have to deal with that. The other 90% don't have to worry.
which means that that's gonna that that influence is gonna pass down to everyone.
Well, what's going to happen is because of that, we'll never get to $3 billion or whatever we want to get to.
That's right. No, and that's the end of the line on this one is that is what's going to hold back, and I believe it's probably already been holding back podcast revenue on the advertising side, is because
Mm,
the brands are seeing a whole nother level of data um, about their buys, and that's why they're buying into the big shows that they know that they're going to get a pretty much a guaranteed ROI on. They're not branching out into other shows as much because there's just not a deep set of metrics to know if they work. I don't know. I mean,
right. But
these are tough topics to talk about podcast. I mean, in the podcasting space, because it doesn't make the industry
for those that are
look good.
chasing dollars,
Yeah,
it's
and
a hard.
increasingly, that's what every new podcaster I talk to, that's the number one question. How do I make money?
It's, we don't hear that at all.
Well,
That's that
I
does
don't know what
not
to say, but
that
this
just doesn't
article
come up in conversations.
kind of
Again, I'm the one that's dealing with the customers.
I know you are,
So if I'm not hearing that, um,
but it could be that the customers that you're attracting are not prioritizing that.
well,
So
again, what are my primary business? What are my primary categories of customers?
audio
They're
podcasters probably.
well, they're no,
Well, you're not
they're
really doing that much with
churches, they're businesses, they're news channels, they're tech.
right,
Um, so are they chasing advertising? Most of them are not.
right.
Let's see here.
Yeah.
Did we have some money come in? Let me look.
Speaking of monetization,
We got
right?
1,000 sats from BR. Happy, heck yeah, V for V.
Yeah.
That was a comment from the last show. 1,700 one set from BD Nets. It said, have you checked into Boomcaster as an option for live streaming and recording? No, I have not. There
Yeah.
was a good article. Dave Jackson put up a good article on Facebook about the dilemma that we've been having with this show on when I'm traveling on
Oh,
all
really?
these platforms, Riverside, Squadcast, all these
Oh,
platforms
yeah,
are
yeah,
just
yeah.
a little bit of everything, but none of them have everything.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I would tend to agree. It's a mixed bag right now, on all these platforms.
so
But
Boomcaster. I'll have to look at Boomcaster.
But this article at the end that Nick Qua wrote, and this is a quote directly from the article, it says, "Video is unlikely to kill the audio podcast sector, but will continue to coexist and shape the medium's trajectory in hopefully complementary ways." So I think that's the takeaway from what he
And
wrote
if
anyway.
if the Apple team, starts paying a little more attention to video, that could help too, not making it a second class citizen in the platform.
So
I have
which
full intention of coming out with a new option at Blueberry for video, but again, the demand has been so low, I keep dropping it down on the priority list.
yeah,
We just don't have customers asking for it.
I guess all the attention around video is really at the end of the day is really centered around what YouTube is doing. Yeah, I think at the end of the I mean, I was thinking about that the other day about, and I think we talked about it, or I did on my show last week, Podcast Tips. I talked about um, Spotify's podcasting efforts, and podcasters need to be aware
Yeah.
of
I,
of
I
of that platform.
we had some interesting comments from the last show, and I've seen other people starting to say, when will you wake up, podcasters, to what's going on? Um, when will you wake up? So
To
Ferdinand saying this,
what
the
aspect
show's
of it,
going up
Todd, are
wrong.
you talking about? Wake up to what? Wake up to Spotify or?
Wake up to the fact that, Spotify's not going to be putting money in your pocket
Yeah,
to that extent, you know. Ferdinand, I turned up my volume level a little bit, so hopefully that helped.
yeah,
Someone said the volume sounds low today,
yeah,
so I upped my volume a bit.
yeah.
Apologize about that.
So in some ways, really, I think at the end of the day, the dilemma between audio and video is really driven by context of the content. Certain content is going to lean itself probably a little stronger on the video side than other types of content, and it depends on the preferences of the creator too. And but the influence of these big platforms, Todd, is you know I don't think
No,
anybody can
it's no
argue with
doubt
that.
they're big. No.
Yeah, these are big
And if,
platforms.
it could be the downfall of the entire podcasting space.
Yeah. Well, you know, Nick doesn't really in this article address that question mark. I know James Cridlin has expressed that concern publicly as well,
Yeah,
that you know these platforms threaten the centralized monetization
sure.
strategies that many companies have built and implemented and invested lots of money in to create. And
Yeah.
And once we get into a situation where all of us have to upload directly to these platforms, which is clearly the direction that things are moving towards, it's I don't know what that future looks like, unfortunately.
Well, Spotify is saying, that they're potentially will have an API at some point to submit video, but the problem is it's still going to overwrite the audio.
Right. Yeah. Right. Their priority is video now going forward, which is interesting given that they're a music platform primarily,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
And you saw YouTube as a video platform prioritizing music. So they're both kind of moving towards each other. And I just don't know that Spotify has really any significant momentum on the video side. That's
Well,
that's kind of my
they
observation.
claim they do. They claim they have
Well, they
significant.
want to, right? Because it's very
Yeah,
profitable, and if they can get that audience
profitable
from
for them.
right, right, exactly. But I just, you know, YouTube is such a juggernaut out there that I don't think there's anybody that is even in the realm of competition with them.
Well, here's the thing I hear. This is what I'm hearing. The Where there is an opportunity
Yeah.
is in platforms that don't censor.
Oh, right.
Um,
Rumble and
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 even
who else?
they, yeah, even they, um, to a point. So I think if you,
Yeah, I think it's
if
that
this
non-censorship thing is a tough road.
this is where there is a path forward for content creators.
Yeah.
In that, if you are having content that is being suppressed, demonetized, taken down,
Moderated,
and it
right?
doesn't take a lot to have content taken down these days.
Mm-mm.
Um, we get copyright strikes on this show just out of the blue, and we're not running music because the algorithm thinks we're running music sometimes, which is bizarre. And it's like 18 minutes into the show, and I have to say, there's no audio here. There's no,
No,
there's
no
no
music, you
music,
mean? Right.
right?
Right.
And I think that there is a opportunity for podcasting to serve those shows that are regularly being suppressed and demonetized. And
Yeah.
um, so whenever I hear, and matter of fact, it just happened yesterday. I was in a chat group and someone said, "Oh, and this was a video that was put up on not LinkedIn, but it's one of the pay services that's for video. They bought live stream. Um, oh, what's the name of that video service? It's
Um,
for people that have they
Vimeo.
Vimeo. So a private group,
Mm-hmm.
private video
Mm-hmm.
put up. Nothing that was in the video was adult in nature, and they took the video down. So,
Oh. Oh.
so if you have a platform that is a pay platform that you're paying for, and they're still taking content down
Mm-hmm.
because some weasel in a chair doesn't like the content,
Mm-hmm.
there needs to be a place for content to live that is will avoid censors. And as some
Right.
weasel in a chair that says, "Oh, I don't like this video. My sensitivities have been hurt. I'm going to remove it from the platform without any reason." Um, gun content,
Well, this is being picked up by brand safety algorithms now.
gun content,
Right.
adult content,
Right.
you just anything that is slightly controversy,
Yeah.
um, that could cause some weasel. Again, I'm using the word weasel broadly here because they're the ones that are removing this content. Is someone that sensitivities are, someone's sensitivities got hurt. And it's amazing. You pay for Vimeo, you think they wouldn't take videos down, and they're doing. And again, the video did not contain any adult content at all. Um, so there
Yeah, but
is an opportunity for some content to reside other places, and I think that is something that we will promote, is that we are a platform that is basically, if you're being taken down somewhere else, as long as you're not killing someone or you're doing hate speech and that kind of thing, come on.
yeah, but what is
uh
hate speech?
well, yeah,
That's the problem.
that's so, we've clearly defined what we'll accept and won't accept in our terms of service. And again, I would say that I think most podcasting companies are pretty open to a large majority of content, long as you're not invoking violence. So there is a place then for this content that is being suppressed, um,
Mm-hmm.
by these mainstream media companies. So maybe that's where we fit a niche, and then it's a retraining of an audience that is being cut out of content that they want to get access to.
Yeah. I mean, what we saw over the last 6 months was really driven based on audiences having an interest in kind of cutting edge, controversial content, right? And I don't know that moderation and stuff is really going to decline that much. I think as the technology gets better, it's going to be easier and easier to scan video, to scan the audio, looking for keywords. I mean, all these platforms are pulling transcripts now, so they
Hmm.
have access to every word or phrase that's used in any of this content. Like even this show right now, we're streaming to all of these big platforms, and
Yep.
I'm sure they're analyzing every word we say.
Well, I'm
Uh,
sure.
yeah, and if we say something that doesn't fit the models that have been built, then there's a flag, thrown up, and
And the content's driven down.
right, it's you know it. like Elon said, you can say whatever you want to say, but there's no guarantee that there's going to be anybody that actually sees it because it'll
And
be
I think
suppressed.
about, doing a news show with a tech show. There's stuff I cover there that are, they're talking about embezzlement, and there's all kinds of words that are,
Mhm.
that are surfaced that would probably trigger some alago somewhere. So again, I think that the suppression units at YouTube and Spotify or whatever else they belong, and the AI giants that are killing content, then what is podcasting? Well, podcasting in its traditional sense is the last bastion of free speech. It's a place where you can go and not be suppressed and have your content deplatformed, then you still can have distribution. And I think if we continue to remind people of that,
Yeah.
then when they get pissed off, when I get the email, Todd, 3 of my videos on such and such platform was taken down. What can you do for me? I'm like, hey, got a solution for you, brother.
Put it
Come
out
on.
as a podcast.
We've got it for you. We can, you know, and
Yeah.
no, it's not free. But if you believe in your content and you have an audience that's supporting you, a few donations here and there, supporting the value of your content, you can pay that bill and
Yeah.
continue to talk about what you want to talk about, and do video if you want to do video.
Right. Now, this
So
article from Nick had one little historical warning in it, which brings back a little bit of the past that maybe reflect maybe, but let's talk about how the situation might be different now. But um, back in the mid 2010s, there was a push towards video and podcasting, right? That was the pivot to video era, is what he calls it, which led, in the article, he said, led to resource misallocation and platform driven failures. So the monetization models weren't built quite well back then around video online, right? So a lot of these companies, venture backed companies that were doing video podcasting back in the early days of the medium, invested a lot in building, quality content, video podcast content, and a lot of
sure,
them sold out and went out of business.
look
Um,
look what's happened to Twitch.
right, and so there is a history of that happening here. I guess what we have to say now is that this is a different era, and legacy media is not ruling over the online media space quite as much as it used to. So, and a lot of those big media creators and big media producers or whatever are moving to the online space. So we may be seeing kind of a big historical shift that is
Hmm.
different than those early days. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that in the end, uh, consumers um, are going to decide. I think that's
Well,
in the end what
it's a
will.
generational choice, right?
Yeah.
What is the the youngest two generations? What are they choosing? And that may
So
be what
time
the
will
path
tell.
is. I know you've been saying that about podcasting for a long time. People don't listen to the radio because the younger
Right.
generation doesn't tune into it anymore. So,
Yeah. So I think it's one of those situations where, um, I guess for a better word, we'll find out.
time will tell.
Yeah, we will.
And we probably won't be
So
here, but yeah.
yeah, and it's there is not, I see it in Blueberry's business. It is not without challenges, and we're looking at everything and making sure that we can survive the change to um, the dichotomy of podcasting. And if we're
Right.
seeing it, others are seeing it too. So, because
Yeah.
there's, I think there's no one's talking about it, but I think there is real risk out there, um,
Yeah.
from a business sense. um, in the podcasting space. So,
Yeah.
um, and
Yeah.
time will tell uh, where that leads, and hopefully, the economy hasn't helped it either. But I think we've seen this. I think it's more than the economy at this point.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting his comment, Nick Qua's comment about the ecosystem fracturing. He says that the platform specialization is a kind of a key driving point here. Podcasting may be split into sub ecosystems, and then he goes on to list YouTube, Spotify, home for video based mass appeal chatcasts. Apple Podcast is supporting narrative public radio style content.
Hmm.
Uh, he's showing his bias there when he says that.
Yeah, but I think overall he did a pretty good, did a pretty good piece.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So anyway, yeah.
all right. So I think we should get out of here. I've got another show to record.
Oh, you
You've
do?
got Yeah, I've got my regular show to record after this. So I'll be back for everyone. And if you want to hang out a little later, probably about an hour. I've got a
Wow,
meeting at 11.
a triple header going on here, huh?
Yeah.
Is that what's
So, but the next show might be Podfest because
Oh,
I'm traveling.
okay.
I don't get back until like when I arrive in Michigan will be about the time we do this show on Wednesday, and I'm probably gonna be a zombie unless I sleep on the airplane well.
Okay.
So I'll let you know if I'm in any shape to do the show. We'd have to do it Wednesday night if we were gonna do it. So I'll let you know where my brain is and if I can muster up. And first of all, I got to get the studio turned on from Cold Iron. It's
Yeah, it's
been
been shut
off
down
for
for a while.
off for 2.5 months. I'm sure
And
that's going to be fun.
we're doing this show on stage at Podfest on the 16th.
Who's going to be joining
Uh,
us?
right now, I have confirmation from Rocky Thomas is going to be there with us,
Oh,
uh,
okay.
and then there's one other gentleman that hasn't 100% confirmed yet, but he was trying to make it. So,
How's the Podcast Academy
or the Hall of
stuff?
Fame.
Hall of Fame. Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's not the Podcast Academy, but
Yeah, I'm sorry.
yeah, it's okay. It's coming along okay. We're pulling the overall video production together, pulling all the elements together, and all of the all the pieces are coming together. It should be together here, you know, within the week. It should be all
All right.
buttoned up and ready to go.
Awesome. Okay, let's see if I can do this correctly here. Let me find it. Don't forget, you can go over on X at NMS Podcast or newmediashow.com and get subscribed to the show. Of course, I'm geeknews at gmail.com, at geeknews on X, and at geeknews at geeknews.chat on Mastodon. Rob?
Yeah, I'm on X as well. I can be found at Rob Greenlee, and on Facebook, on LinkedIn, also on YouTube at Rob Greenlee as well. So I have my own channel over there with a bunch of different shows going on there. So you can reach out to me via email if you want, rob.greenlee at gmail.com. Happy to hear from you and connect up. And if you're going to Podfest, reach out and would love to meet you there. So
And you can always catch the show again at newmediashow.com/live. That's where it resides, besides
mhm,
all the other places we restream to on X and Rumble and
yeah,
Facebook and Twitter. And yeah, we've had a good variety of people come in from a variety of different areas today. So thanks for being here. And
yeah,
Rob, we'll see if I'm not so jet lagged to do a show next week at this time versus 3 o'clock. So
okay.
as David says, let's make great podcasts this year and let's make podcasting great again.
Okay.
That's kind of dumb.
Hmm. That's right.
Yeah, yeah, we
Hmm.
just lost 50% of the audience.
Yeah, I think that I think there's a new acronym for that we need to come up with, Todd.
Yeah, probably not the best one. All right,
Right.
everyone, thanks for being here. We'll see you next time.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, I'm 72% uploaded. I don't know where you're at.
I just finished.
Oh, okay. I'm behind. So
Sounds good.
yeah, I'll name mine the honey situation. You can name yours the
Right. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Right.
yeah. Let's see here. Is this
So
off the air? Let me look. Yeah, it is. And let me end stream. Yeah. It's
yeah, so
all
you're gonna have
off.
a little
Just
bit of a time zone adjustment, aren't you? When you get
I've
back?
been working nights, so it shouldn't be
Too bad.
that horrible,
Okay.
you know. So I've been a little off on the vacation time and not being up during the daytime, but as an example, my girlfriend's still sleeping, so she
Mm.
sleeps to noon because we usually don't go to bed until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, right.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
okay,
All right.
talk with you later.
Okay, Todd. Yeah.
Yep, thanks.
See you later.